Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back for a book review. And today I have a book that I haven't shared with you all, but I'm very excited to talk about, and that is Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jayne Allen. I love this title. I like the cover. The original cover was just stunning to me. I'll insert a picture here, but I still think this one is very nice. So I haven't shared with you all that I was reading this book. I've been all over with my reading. If you've been following the channel, you probably are aware that I am a mood reader. So wherever the mood and energy takes me. But this was one that I picked up. It was really on my shelf. It was calling to me. So I was like, let's give it a read. And I'm glad I did. So let's get into what it's about. Tabitha Walker is a Black woman with a plan to have it all. At 33, the checklist for the life of her dreams is well underway. Education? Check. Good job? Check. Down payment for a nice house? Check. Dating marriage material? Check, check, and check. With a coveted position as a local news reporter, a paper-perfect boyfriend, and even a standing Saturday morning appointment with a reliable hairstylist, everything seems to be falling into place. Then Tabby receives an unexpected diagnosis that brings her picture-perfect life crashing down, jeopardizing the dream she took for granted, having children. Suddenly, she is faced with an impossible choice between her career, her dream home, and a family of her own. With the help of her best friends, the irreverent and headstrong Laila, and Alexis, the mom's jean-wearing former sexy Lexi, and the generational wisdom of her grandmother and her firebrand friend, Miss Gretchen, Tabby explores the reaches of modern medicine and tests the limits of her relationships, hoping to salvage the future she has always dreamed of. But the fight is all-consuming, demanding a steep price that forces a reckoning for nearly everyone in her life. As Tabby soon learns, her grandmother's age-old adage just might still be true. Black girls must die exhausted. That's the synopsis. I think it covers everything. It covers a lot, right? It gave y'all the major points of the book. So now let's get into what I liked about it, what I did not like about it, and if it's worth the read. So when I first started this book, I felt like it was trauma on trauma on trauma. The first 20 pages of this book were so jam-packed with traumatic events that I was like, is this gonna be a heavy read? Am I gonna enjoy this book? But after the first 20 pages, it levels out a bit, and I'll just share with y'all some of the traumatic events that happened immediately. So first, we get a scene that was very reminiscent of Waiting to Exhale, in which her father leaves her mother for a white woman. So the drama and trauma of that as a young child, trying to navigate identity. So that was one of it that has kind of stayed with her throughout her life, and we see that in her relationship and dating choices a little bit as well. Less of the race piece and more of her not having her father in the way she had before he divorced her mother, married someone new, and started a new family, or what she perceives as a new family. So she has this time clock on having kids with no real perspective. She has a boyfriend. It's not super serious. They're trying to figure it out, you know, like just that stage. So that's something that weighs on her heavy starting off and stays with her throughout the book. Still in the first 20 pages. And then she also gets pulled over by a police officer and has a complete anxiety attack and other things because she's so scared of being this Black woman and getting pulled over by the cops, and there's a whole scene with that. Again, y'all, first 20 pages. So this just laid the foundation for a lot of what was to come. I felt like she was trying to do a lot, and she kind of jam-packed into the first 20 pages. But like I said, after that, it kind of mellowed out a bit, but some of those themes still stay. So I feel like she really laid the foundation for that and a lot of what we would read and unpack throughout the book. So after that, even though it was so heavy, I do feel like there were like spurts of dry humor, even in those moments that, you know, kind of felt like there was some levity there. So that was nice. I think going on with the things I liked about it, I didn't like those first 20 pages. I didn't hate them, but I was like, that's a lot. It made me very apprehensive because I was like, I know the title was Black Girls Gonna Die Exhausted, but am I gonna have to be exhausted reading this book? But it does get lighter, relatively. So moving on beyond that, so that's the first 20 pages. Then we go on, but those issues come up, right? So the big issue is she has everything in her life is seemingly perfect, except for the fact that she has to make these tough decisions, right? She learns early on that she has to come to terms with what she's gonna do about having children. She's not producing as many eggs as she should be at her age. So literally, quite literally, the clock is ticking. So she's thinking about the fact that I'm with this guy. I don't really know if he wants to become more serious. Is this what we want? I have to have this conversation with him. She's also saved up all of this money for a down payment for her house, and if he doesn't want to have kids with her right now, she's gonna have to use this money to freeze her eggs. So that is a very tough decision for her as well. And I think those are the two big things that for her she's trying to navigate. We also have the other characters, again, her friends, which I really love. Layla was just a great character to me. This book could have been hers, or she could have her own spin-off book. I don't hate our protagonist, but her friend Layla was just like a dope character that I feel like really helped add rhythm to the story and complexity. Her other friend Alexis as well has her own drama, man issues, things like that. So I do feel like this was very cute in we have these Black women trying, and like young professionals trying to navigate life, trying to figure out what's next. I love the character Layla because she was different from them, a lot more brash and in your face, kind of straightforward, straight shooter, the strong friend. But even with that, she has her own mental health challenges, and I thought that really brought the book home and really gave it complexity outside of our main character. It really made you ponder, and you did have this character that was so strong that we saw, but everything wasn't as it appeared, and I loved that. I loved that. I also really did enjoy the relationship. So I guess that the character driven, a lot of relationships. I love the relationship between Tabby too, which is our character, and her grandmother Tabby, who she's named after, who is a white woman. So there was always this identity there, and I think it did a very good job of humanizing it, right? She was, for a big part of her childhood, she lived with her grandmother after her parents got divorced, and they just had a really good rapport and a really good relationship. And it wasn't like this is her white grandmother and this is her Black grandchild. They just had that natural relationship that a grandmother and grandchild would have, and it was very nice to see it put here in such a normal way. And I really did appreciate that about this book. Also, sorry, the grandmother's best friend is Gretchen. Firecracker, okay? May we all be that fly in our senior years, still out here as bad as we want to be, living life on our own terms. I love women characters like that at any age, because society puts so much pressure on us to fit inside a mold or expectation, and I just adore women in fiction and in real life who've lived life on their own terms, and that just made me so grateful for the women I know in my own life who are like that, and I like to think that's how I am as well. So I appreciate seeing it, just loved it. Also, there was a concept in this book called rocking chair moments, and rocking chair moments are things you think back on later in life when you're in your rocking chair, and just having created memories that stay with you and that you can savor. And I love that because that's a big thing for me. I have no desire to be alive and not be living, or to be living and not be alive. So to have a life full of memories that you can cherish in your older age and think back, and they stay with you, you get to savor them and unpack them and live it again. I thought that was just such a good message in such a like natural way that I really enjoyed that part of the book. I guess I also love the cross generations here. You had Tabby and her friends, you had her mother and her father and their lives, and the unpacking, because eventually it does kind of all come together, of just relationships and what was going on with them at that time, and how one person perceived it and how another perceived it. And I love that you had a father here who took ownership, and it was like, it wasn't really about her, it was about me, right? So I loved that. Love the seniors, okay? I love the seniors out here living. That was something I just appreciated so much about this book, and I don't think we see it often enough. So I really love that. Also, I think her writing reminded me a lot of Terry McMillan. And if you've read Terry McMillan, you know, you like The Group of Friends, Waiting to Exhale, I mentioned that earlier. But just very like, or even Stella Got Her Groove Back, some other books by Terry McMillan, they're not all coming to me right now, but her style of writing, that there's heaviness here, there's also lightness rooted in family and friendships, and I thought that just was well done. I did really enjoy that and really appreciate it, and it made me want to go back and pick up some of my Terry McMillan books again. So that was very nice, because I haven't done that in years. So y'all might see some of that coming to the channel soon. I also really enjoy the fact that even though this had elements of romance, and it was here when we got to unpack it, it wasn't what it was all about. I love the fact that it was, again, rooted in friends and family and other relationships outside of romantic relationship, those platonic and familiar relationships that really carry us through. So I appreciate that. Those are the things I really liked about this book. Those are the things I enjoyed. Those are the things I thought were well done, right? But obviously, everything wasn't all peaches and cream. There were parts of it that I enjoyed less. Let's talk about them. So there was a lot of drama here. I think that's a big thing for me. There was a lot of drama, and I can't say that I always felt like it was necessary drama. Sometimes I just be like, I don't know if that was necessary. So I would say that was one thing for sure. Wasn't always sure the drama was necessary. Also, her relationship with her main partner, Mark, I sometimes felt like she was accepting less than what she deserved, or that she was demanding the bare minimum from Mark, and I couldn't get behind that. Like, that was frustrating. But even with that, I did find myself still rooting for our good sis Tabby, and I know that I liked her as a character because I'm calling her our good sis Tabby. But I did find myself rooting for her. I just didn't always agree with her decisions, which, I mean, it's a novel, right? I don't have to agree with every decision that our protagonist makes. So that was a huge thing. I also just felt like sometimes, especially toward the end, pacing wise, I think it sped up a bit too much for me. I think the author was trying to jam pack a lot at the end, and I just feel like it accelerated very quickly. But with that, I would say that for every chapter ending, I feel like there was a good cliffhanger that kind of pulled you in and made you want to continue. So that was well done. And overall, even though I do feel like there were some elements that I felt like were new and fresh, the story itself was not new and fresh. It did remind me of others. Like I said, Terry McMillan, very reminiscent of that work. So though I did enjoy it, and though I do plan on getting and reading the second book, is this a book that I think is just like, oh, you gotta go read it right now? No. So based on my scale of read it now, read it when you have time, or read it if you want, I would definitely say this is a read when you have time. I enjoyed it. It was pretty light. I think it's a quick read, but I would not say you need to drop everything and go read this book right now. I would be lying, and I have no desire to lie to y'all. So that's my synopsis of this book. Thought it was good. Writing was pretty good. Excited to see her grow as a writer and see where the trilogy continues to go. I do plan on continuing it. And that's it for me, y'all. That is my review of Black Girls Must Die Exhausted. More book reviews to come, obviously, like always. I did post a video telling y'all the books that I'm reading. Y'all might get other book reviews that were not on that list. Told y'all I go where the energy takes me. But that's my review for this. I hope everyone is doing well and fabulous. I love this hair color. Not what the video is about, just wanted to say that. But yeah, things are good. A lot of changes coming forward for me that I'll be announcing as the year progresses. It's not the time yet, but just wanted to throw that out there. So as always, I am MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. And until the next one, I hope that everyone remembers to give time, to be kind to each other, and to have the best day of your life, today and every day, on purpose. Adios, olavo.